Alrighty, it is Friday, September 1st, 2023, and I was wrong. I can admit it. Just went by the gas station, the fill-in station. Oh, yeah, see the town's out mowing that yard because the guy can't mow it. He's not keeping up on the yard. Town's going to come and send him a bill now. Let the weeds get too high. Part of living in the community. No, the gasoline fill-in station. That's where I was going with it. Still $3.85, just like it was yesterday. I speculated yesterday that since we have a 3-day weekend, a holiday coming up, that the fuel prices would be up yesterday. Didn't go up. Stayed the same. Bidenomics, baby. Controlling inflation. Making sure that we have a great Labor Day weekend, even though nobody's working anymore. We'll be put out of work, displaced. Nothing to do. Anyway. The moon was big. I mean, we had that big super moon, 2 nights ago, but last night was huge. Looked really close. I don't get it. I really don't. The whole moon thing, somebody made a comment and said, well, it's a shadow. Maybe it's a shadow of this and that. I still don't get it. How can you have a moon that's in the sky when the sun's up and it's shadowed? What's shadowing it? And where's the light coming from to create that shadow against the object that's creating the shadow? If that makes sense. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Never will. I'll be richly rewarded in heaven with vast volumes of knowledge that I don't understand here on earth. Hopefully. It's my retirement plan. Richly rewarded in heaven. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Put good energy out into the universe. That's the main thing. Get the good energy out there, and hopefully things will take care of themselves. ETFs. Let's talk a little bit about crypto. I haven't talked in depth about crypto. We had a good show last night on Let's Hash It Out. Let's hash it out. Blind Dave was a little confused in what episode it was, so we had episode 8 last week and episode 8 last night. So really it was episode 9. Needs to retitle that. So he said, I'm losing track. I don't even know what episode it is. So you've been doing it for a little while. That's pretty cool. You know, we get into different things. Javier's got questions. Likes to stir the pot, like he says. That's good. Now, we're talking a little bit about ETFs last night. I kind of want to get into that a little bit more. It's just my opinion, my thinking on this whole thing. The ETFs, electronic traded funds, electronically traded funds, whatever it is, it makes an asset available to be purchased easily in the institutional system. You know, like, think you go buy a stock, you know, you got a ticker, stock ticker. It's like you buy Apple, I think it's AAPL. You buy Apple. You want to buy Microsoft, it's MSFT. And you go out and buy it. Makes it very easy to move that digital money around, which it really is at this point. So what the big thing in crypto is, when will an ETF be available? So in other words, when can I go out and buy Bitcoin as, you know, just like I buy a stock right now, like I'd go buy a share of Apple? When am I going to be able to do that with Bitcoin? This has been going on for a long time, years. We've got all these big funds trying to get an ETF to be able to do this, to make it available. And it's just, for whatever reason, gets kicked. The can gets kicked, it gets pushed, it gets pushed, it gets pushed. There are some that have the theory that, okay, the reason why you're not going to get an ETF is because you got a lot of, let's say, scamminess in crypto as far as how the money's flowing. And a lot of people will point to Tether and say, well, that's the problem. You're not going to get an ETF until Tether is, you know, audited, and we know that Tether is actually 1-to-1 to the dollar, and there's no funny business going on there. That's one school of thought. The other school of thought, there's many schools of thought. There's as many schools out there. A lot of fishes out in the sea. But we've got I think the ETF has been slow-rolled because I think the big money has been accumulating this stuff. Every time they whack it down, every time, you know, there's FUD, every time there's fear in the market, I think people are accumulating it, taking possession of it. I think it's the big players, and I think they want to continue that game as long as they can, and accumulate as much as they can at the lowest price possible before they release this ETF, because I think what happens with the ETF, again, this is my speculation, my opinion, I think what happens with when the ETFs come out, especially if it's a spot ETF, which means It's got to be 1-to-1. You know, it's none of this derivative crap. It's got to be, hey, if I'm buying 1 Bitcoin, you have to prove that you have custody of that Bitcoin on your ETF platform, which is easy to do when you've got a blockchain. You can track everything. All right, so that presents a problem because there's only so much Bitcoin to go around. And then Litecoin will be the next ETF, and Bitcoin Cash and all those things, probably Ethereum. Let me grab this real quick. And nada. So, you know, when the ETF rolls out, we'll just talk about Bitcoin right now. When the Bitcoin ETF rolls out, that's going to put a pinch on the supply of Bitcoin because there's only so much Bitcoin out there. See, it's a finite supply. There's not a little over 19 million out there available Bitcoin. Can it be had? No, because people lost their private keys, gave it away to people. I've given away all kinds of Litecoin, give it to waitresses and, you know, bartenders and all this stuff. Just people at, you know, at meetups, and, you know, I guarantee people have lost it. You know, they changed their phone, forgot the seed phrase, didn't restore the wallet, blah, blah, blah. You know, so the stuff gets lost. It's still out there secured by the blockchain. It's just you can't access it because you lost your key. It's like you lost your key to your mailbox. What are you going to do about it? You go to the postmaster. I need another one. Well, sorry, we only had 1 key. What? I can't get in my mail. No, you can't. Well, I mean, you can't get it on the back door. No, there's no back door. Sorry. It is what it is. So that's kind of the thing. You get a lot of it lost. So let's, for argument's sake, let's say there's a little over 19 million available. 19 million Bitcoin available. And, you know, people are holding it in their wallets, they're locking it up, it's not moving, they're using a savings account, you know, long term. They're not going to move it until it hits $1 million or something. Or they're not going to move it at all. I'm going to die and leave it to my kids. I don't care. F you. So you've got an ETF coming along, and they're going to make this Bitcoin available. Well, again, there's only so much Bitcoin available. And if you've got an ETF, that allows... geese now. There were chickens, and now they've got geese running around the yard. So it's got, you've got, gotta love it, baby. You know, we're not in the city where the town's mowing your yard because you let it get too high. No, we got geese and chickens running around the yard. Yeah, leave me alone. ETF will make Bitcoin available to big investors, just like a stock ticker, to where you can buy Apple shares. Well, now you can buy BTC, whatever, you know, whatever ticker they're going to give it. You'll be able to buy that. Now think about this. Think of the money that's on Wall Street. Think of the money that's in the financial system. And if you've got an asset that is a finite asset, and now it's available, you know, it's got the stamp of approval, got an ETF, it's all regulated, and you can buy that, what's that going to do to the supply? I think at that moment, once the ETFs are released, that opens the floodgates. As long as it's a spot ETF, you know, it's 1-to-1 and they're actually holding, custodying the Bitcoin. It's not some rigged casino to where they, you know, say they have it and they don't have it. It's kind of what's going on now with exchanges, I think. But when that gets cleaned up and you've got a real ETF out there to where they're audited, I mean, it's very clear, you know, the blockchain validates it. You've got 19 million Bitcoin, and they, you know, say they only have, like, say they get a hold of 2 million Bitcoin, which, good luck. I mean, say they get 2 million Bitcoin. What's the price of, I mean, you know, that market going to do when there's trillions of dollars available for investment? Right now, if you take all the Bitcoin in existence, and based on the current price of like $26,000, that puts it at less than $1 trillion for the total supply. Now, that's not accurate because there are people who are like, I ain't selling for $26,000, $260,000 maybe. So, I mean, it's really not accurate, but it kind of gives you an idea. Everything out there is supposedly valued at, let's get the windows down, it's a little warmer today. Okay. Say it's $1 trillion Bitcoin. So there's $1 trillion worth of Bitcoin. There's 19 million of them out there. That's what they're saying it is. Well, if you've got trillions of dollars rolling into it, what's that going to do to the price? I mean, what's that do to the price of these coins? It's going to drive the price up. And so that's why I think that, you know, this is kind of the opening valve, the opening floodgate to start transitioning the old money and soaking up all the excess and soaking up all the, you know, really excess money that's been printed. It gives that money a place to funnel out into this newer digital system, this new digital asset-based system. So I think that's why they've slow rolled it, because they're not ready for it yet. They're not ready for that transition. It's timing is everything with these people. That's why I talked about the moon. You know, it's important. That's why I talk about equinoxes and solstices. Or is it solstices? I don't know. I love when people say process, processes, process, processes. You know, if you're smart, you'll say processes. And I'm like, I still say processes because it just seems right. Seems righter. All right, so, you know, that's why I talk about these things, because the people that are kind of running the show, trying to steer the narrative, move things along, they believe in, I don't know what the sun's looking like, it's glare on this, but hopefully it's not on me. But to me, I see them working through these timetables, and they like to do things because they're kind of occultic. I'm gonna call it almost not psychotic, but I can't even think of the word. They're driven in that behavior. They have to, obsessive, compulsive almost, I guess that's what it is. You know, they have to do it a certain way. They want it this way, you know, very meticulous. And this is when we need to roll it out. This is when we need to do it, because that's the maximum power behind, you know, what our intentions are. And so we're going to do it at the supermoon. Well, we got another supermoon coming up on September 29th. So this is just my gut feeling. I just get this feeling between the supermoon we just had. Let's do it this way because it makes more sense to you left to right. The supermoon we just had to the supermoon September 29th, I think we're really going to see this power shifting, you know, and they're going to try and roll things out. Yeah, going woo-woo here. That's just my gut feeling. And so, you know, I'm going to tell you. It's like people can come on and talk about dreams. I'm going to tell you my feelings. And so I think it's been slow rolled, this whole ETF thing, to align with certain time frames. So what did the SEC do? We just had a couple of days ago a court ruling say that Grayscale ETF, you know, the SEC is trying to stop it, you know, and Grayscale, you know, the company said, Grayscale, you're fine. Oh, no, continue. Well, what happens? A couple of days later, the SEC comes out and says all these other people who applied for ETFs, all these big institutions, they said, we're going to put a delay on it. So they pushed it off 45 days. And so, of course, you manipulate the crypto market down, the sentiment's down. What do you think they're doing? Now they're picking it up. They like to buy the dip. So they're like, make it dip some more so we can get some more. Because we need this stuff when we have our ETF. We got to have the physical Bitcoin, or the real Bitcoin. Because do you want to go out in the market and buy it, or do you want to, you know, have people come in and then, you know, price goes up? And anyway, so you got 45 days. So that puts us at, you know, let's say 45 days from now, you know, October 15th ish, you know, 13th, 14th, 15th, somewhere in there. You're getting into the hot zones then. I mean, that's, you know, you're really pulling plugs. So I think September is going to be kind of you're going to see some big things happening. You might not realize it, but I think you're going to, you know, between these big moon cycles and even after a little bit, and probably, into October, things are going to start shifting and it's going to start getting more clear. We're already seeing the talk, oh, well, we need a continuing resolution on the budget to continue to fund government. You know, so that's the big thing. Congress will come back and debate because they're on the summer vacation right now, you know. But they'll come back, they'll debate that, and, you know, that'll be a big blah, 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 you know, moment to where, the government could shut down, you know, that kind of crap. I mean, didn't we just have a debt ceiling increase to where, hey, we can print all this money and now we need a continuing resolution to, you know, get through the fiscal year. I think the fiscal year ends at end of September. So October 1st starts a new fiscal year, financial year for the government. So you got all these things kind of working. And then you've got an ETF that's just kind of sitting on the table. Again, they may push it off till next year, March, you know, equinox, you know, March, you know, the spring equinox, you know, that time frame. They may do that. But we've also got the fall equinox coming up in September 23rd, I think, something like that. And that's when the days are equal, and then you start moving into the darker days, you know, less daylight, more darkness, up until the winter solstice where it's peak darkness. I don't know, watch these time frames, just get the feeling that things are happening. The ETF, I think the whole reason, this is the whole reason I made this video, the whole reason for the ETF is to, when that happens, and that's why it hasn't happened, when that happens, they're ready. They're ready to just, okay, let the money flow. Let the money come into crypto. And it's going to funnel into what? The ones that are available. You know, the ones that you can throw a bunch of money into. And it'll soak it up. Which ones can you throw money into? Right now, it'll be Bitcoin to start with. I don't think it's much of a leap to say that Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash are going to be, and maybe Ethereum are going to be the next big ones for ETFs, to where that money is just going to get soaked up. Do I think it's a good thing? No, not really, because that's not the intention of crypto. However, what's it do? It does solve a problem of, you know, price will go up because you're going to have more dollars flowing into it. More institutional money that now can find a new home. And, I mean, yeah, price is going to go up. And that's what all the moon boys want. That's what a lot of these people that hate Litecoin, that's what they want anyway. They want dollar go up. You know, and that's all they care about. They really don't. They don't care about the fundamentals of peer-to-peer electronic currency and what value that brings to humanity, being outside of their, you know, financial system, being able to send energy peer-to-peer in over a decentralized network that is not controlled by central authority, a financial institution. You know, a lot of people don't care about that. They just want number go up so they can, you know, feel good about themselves, I guess, and buy things they don't need. And, you know, hey, whatever. Everybody's got their own path. I would rather have sound money for humanity so that we can interact and we can exchange value outside of a financial institution, just like the Bitcoin white paper said, you know, in the abstract right at the beginning. I mean, that's such an important concept that I think a lot of people have lost that spirit of what Bitcoin is. And I still feel that in Litecoin. And there are other coins. I mean, DigiByte has that spirit of kind of rebellion, independence. You know, they've all got these. You got people that chart these things out astrologically, when the coin was birthed and born, and, you know, what that means and its life cycle, you know, because it, you know, it's got its own house, you know, I guess you could say, born in a certain house. And I mean, there's a spirit behind everything. There's a, you know, the essence of it. And so the essence that is in Litecoin is to me, a better form of payment, a sound money for the digital age is really what it comes down to. You know, fulfilling that Bitcoin white paper that Bitcoin doesn't do. That's really what it comes down to. Not dogging Bitcoin, I'm just saying it's not what it was intended to be, and that's okay, because, you know, when you create something, you think, okay, this is what it's going to be, and then it becomes something else. It's just like, look at pharmaceuticals. They create one drug, and the next thing you know, it's like Viagra, for instance. I don't have any experience with that, but apparently Viagra was created for something different, and then it's like, oh, well, it also does this. Cool. We'll sell it for that. So, you know, sometimes you don't realize when you invent something, it might take on a life of its own just because of that's how people use it. And that's where the need is, the demand is. You know, with Bitcoin, it's hey, store it up. Don't spend it. You know, don't use it. You know, that's your savings account. And lock it up. It's a secure, you know, the most secure network out there, you know, and it's been running for the longest. Not 100% uptime, but it's been, you know, around for the longest time of any blockchain. And so I get it. But it doesn't fulfill what that white paper is if you still believe that that is the important thing about cryptocurrency. And so to me, Litecoin fulfills that. You know, the fair launched. It's now been running for almost 12 years. I think October 13th, which I think is a Friday. Taylor Swift is coming out with a movie that day. So you've got that blockchain that fulfills the sound money principle, able to have peer-to-peer transactions, very minimal fees, under a penny to send any amount of money that you want over it, a decentralized network. I mean, finite supply, 84 million, only enough for 0.01 if distributed equally around the world to every person, 0.01 Litecoin, 1/100th of a Litecoin. I mean, it's got the fundamentals of sound money. I mean, it is the Bitcoin we talked about in the white paper. And that's okay. You know, everything, Bitcoin's not that. It's something else now, and that's okay. You know, it's the gold that nobody wants to spend and just hold, and, you know, okay, fine. It's just, that's not why I'm in the game. I want humanity to have tools to be able to, get out of the vampire casino. And that's why I like Litecoin. And that's why I talk about DigiByte, because these are tools that work today, and they don't, they're not obtrusively expensive, and they don't have high fees, and they're quick. I mean, they just do what they're supposed to do as far as money in the digital world. So anyway, that's that. Look into Litecoin. Won't regret it. Very undervalued. So anyway, the money from the big institutions are going to go into the ETFs, that first Bitcoin, and it's going to start soaking that money up. And then it's going to be Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and probably Ethereum. I don't know. Ethereum's just like its own. It's grandfathered in under certain rules, and it's not the same as Bitcoin and Litecoin. And Bitcoin Cash is a little bit different too, but because it forked off of Bitcoin, so it's not as legit as a coin like Litecoin that was fairly launched right at the beginning, and everybody had the opportunity to get into it. But anyway, you're going to see ETFs in those things. And so what's that going to do? It's going to funnel the money into those things. It's going to soak up all the trillions that are sitting out there, and it's going to give more yield to people and price go up. So it's going to get harder to get these things. And that's what it comes down to. And that's my point. You can get them now. They work. You're not waiting for something to get developed and, oh my gosh, well, when this happens, then we'll really be able to use it, anyway. It works right now as it is. But now you've got a lot more people coming into it and maybe speculating, maybe realizing, hey, I got to put my money in this. I got to get a piece of this. Even if a small percentage of those trillions of dollars roll into it, look what that does. There's only so much out there. It's going to drive the price up in dollar terms because it's soaking up all those dollars, because it then becomes a real market to where it's like, hey, supply and demand. You're going to have to pay for it. And the problem with these ETFs too, they're holding it. They're the custodian of that crypto. You've got the ability now to be your own custodian, your own bank, and use crypto for what it was born to be. Sound money for the digital age. Send it anywhere you want, anytime you want, to anybody you want. Nobody can stop you. That's what it's all about. When you lock it into these things and you think, oh my gosh, I got this $500,000 retirement, I'm going to throw it into Bitcoin. And by then, when it rolls out, you might get 5 Bitcoin for it because Bitcoin's $100,000 a piece, and then at some point in the future, the next guy says, oh, I'm going to put my retirement in Bitcoin. Well, his $500,000 only gets him 1 Bitcoin. So it's going to soak all that up. It's going to take care of all that problem, all the excess overhang and all those things. But, you're going to pay for it. You're going to have less purchasing power going forward to get the Bitcoin. And the same thing's going to happen. Like I said, with Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, you're going to have that same situation because those are legit assets. All you got to do is look at what's on PayPal, Venmo, same company essentially. But those are the 4 big ones. Those are the ones. Those are the ones you can buy. They're the chosen ones for whatever reason. It is what it is. So I would see those being the ETFs, out of the gate. And there may be more going forward. You could have a DigiByte ETF down the road. Who knows? Because you've got predefined code that tells you how many there are. It's like, okay, well, then we know what we're working with, and let's hold it. You can't just create more of it. So it is an asset that you can hold. And Dave talked about last night, then you might have derivatives based on it. So you might have, these 4 big ETFs initially, and then you might have a derivative, something based on it that's tied to it and says, oh, well, this thing that you buy over here is tied to the basket. So much percentage of Bitcoin, Litecoin, whatever the price action is on that, it's reflected on this. And so you're diversified. So they'll create all these financial instruments, and that'll help. That will bleed away from the actual price of it because, it'll give you something. These are your derivatives over here that are just made up based on an underlying asset, like they did with housing. It's like, hey, well, I'm buying mortgage-backed securities. Well, I got all these houses bundled up, their mortgages, and I'm buying a piece of that whole pie. And it's like, oh, but you don't own the house. Well, I got a slice of it. Well, how do you do that? And so I can see that happening again in the digital world, but if it's all tokenized and cryptoized, makes more sense. It's completely tied to an asset and you're getting a piece of it. And anyway, that's a whole big discussion, but that's what's going to happen. It's going to make all these things much easier to do, but at least it'll be trackable, it'll be on the blockchain, and hopefully it cleans up the financial system. I look at it from the standpoint of, hey, I know the big money's coming. I know it's getting into it. When they release the floodgates, we'll know, or maybe we won't know, but it will happen. And it's just a matter of when they want to do it on their time cycle. To me, I'm just like, whatever. I understand that. I have something that works right now. I have it in my possession. I know it's going to be a highly desired digital asset. Why not get it now? Get it now when it's on the cheap. Why are you waiting for all the money to come into it and validate and say, okay, now it's safe? And like, wait, Litecoin's been running, like I said, almost 12 years, uninterrupted. Next month. Never failed. What more proof do you need? You need the validation of some government to say, oh, yes, this is this thing that was created to bypass our effed up dollar casino, vampire casino. We now give it, we sanction it and say it's okay. No, now I feel good about it. Oh, good. Now I can go buy it. Thank you, Lord Masters, evil ones, for, blessing this asset that I've had the opportunity to buy, at $1 and didn't do it. And then $100 and didn't do it. And then $1,000 and didn't do it. Now it's $30,000. Well, $26,000 for Bitcoin. $65 for Litecoin. Stupid. You're going to wait for somebody to tell you that it's okay to buy it? That's $65 for an asset that if you distribute equally around the world, when, best case scenario, if none of them been lost, 1/100th of a Litecoin each, 1/100th, and you can get a whole one for $65? You're waiting for approval? No, I don't think so. It's not a smart idea, I don't think. So, got an opportunity, and you sit back and not take it, not even, just sit back and not even be in the game, not even understand where things are going, not even take a little bit of a risk, which to me is not even a risk, but $100 bill. You're going to blow that this weekend. College football starts. People are going to be buying all kinds of beer and food and all this stuff. You're going to throw that kind of money away tomorrow. $65. One Litecoin. Just do it. One Litecoin. Just take a gamble. One Litecoin. Take it. Download a wallet. Write down your seed phrase. Buy it from wherever you need to buy it from. Put it in that wallet. Forget about it. You can delete the wallet. As long as you get the seed phrase, you can always restore it. Put that seed phrase somewhere safe. Forget about it. Go watch your football game. Go get drunk. Go eat bratwurst. Do whatever you got to do. I got to say it. Roll Tide. I got to say it. My daughter's Alabama. I'm not a football fan anymore. I don't even watch football. I did watch the game last night. It was pretty exciting. The Minnesota Nebraska game. Kind of crazy. See, I like that because of the emotion, and just the, all that. I like that, so it seemed, the essence of just competition and the purity of it. But NFL, whatever. No, I'll probably start watching a little bit of football just because my daughter's in college and it's a big thing, As Daddy-O says, it's a religion in the South. I'm just like, whatever. But it's cool when I see other people happy, enjoying themselves and expressing their, humanity and just, getting out there. I like that. I think that's important. It's when people sell out to a system, like professional sports and what's done with all that. And it's just, high school football is the best though. Anyway. All right, rambled enough, but yeah, the ETFs are going to soak up that money. You've got an opportunity to front run the game. Why wouldn't you do it? Really, why wouldn't you do it? Even if you hate on Litecoin and, you bought it at $400 and now it's at $65. And that's crypto, but the long-term time frame is that's not going to matter, any of that. It's going to be a blip. It's not going to matter at all. It just depends on your time frame. Some people are like, well, I needed to make money in 1 year. Well, if you're not in crypto at the right time, you're going to lose money. You can't just jump into it and think it's going to go up, 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 up. There's a 4-year cycle. So all I'm saying is think long term. Think about what the fundamentals of these things are, the solid cryptos, Litecoin. That's what I'm going to talk about. Think about the sound money for the digital age that it is and what it offers you. Now with privacy of MWeb, hello. Digital cash. Think about the power of what that is and how it fulfills the Satoshi white paper's promise. And for $65 for one coin is absolutely, to me, stealing it. Could it go lower? Yeah, absolutely. But in the big scheme of things, it's not going to matter. It's not, because you've created trillions and trillions and trillions, quadrillions of dollars, really, they're just sitting out there. And, man, crypto has an unlimited, it's not, I mean, it can soak up all the money in the world. It's just, is what it is. All right. Hope you have a wonderful Friday. Love you all. Kind of went a little long today. It's Friday, though. It's happy hour day, baby. 4 o'clock Central Time on the lovely Litecoin Lisa's YouTube channel. Go check it out. We'll be on happy hour. I will be, man, it might be a good day to sit outside. I used to do that on happy hour. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I got the dogs, though. I'll have to pin them. I'll probably be in the bar having some drinks, because then I have easy access to the alcohol, so I can have a few more than I should and smoke cigars. All right. Got to exit the vampire casino. You really do. You got to start thinking that way. Get your assets in your possession. You've got the opportunity to do that. At some point, you may not be able to do it. You know, you might not be able to go buy a Litecoin off the exchange. Just saying. Get it while you can. It's cheap. Take possession of it. Own it. It's yours. It's your energy. You can do whatever you want with it. Nobody can stop you from doing that. That is the whole idea of the Satoshi white paper. Litecoin is that fulfillment of the Satoshi white paper. Take possession of it. Know what you've got. It's a weapon on the economic battlefield, a powerful weapon. Get ahead of the game. That's really what it comes down to. Exit that vampire casino while you can. You know, and as always, you got to trust yourself, though. If you're not feeling it in your gut, use discernment. Trust yourself. Do your own research. It's the most important thing. All right. Love you all. Hope to see you on happy hour. Have a wonderful Friday.